1. We're checking out this interesting 1985 Chevy El Camino that's popped up on Craigslist for $8,150. You know, the El Camino is one of those unique vehicles that perfectly captures the business in front, party in back spirit of the 80s. It's literally a car-truck hybrid that's become a true American classic. This particular example is rocking the V8 engine, which is exactly what you want in an El Camino, paired with an automatic transmission for comfortable cruising. The odometer shows 169,200 miles, which honestly isn't too shocking for a vehicle that's pushing 40 years old. It's being offered by Legacy Auto Sales in Santa Rosa, and they're even throwing in a free Carfax report, which is always a good sign of transparency. The clean title is definitely a plus here, though I have to be straight with you. At $8,150, you're in that middle ground where you're not getting a show car, but you're also not getting a beater. These El Caminos have been climbing in value over the years, and while this price point isn't the lowest we've seen, it's not outrageous either for a running V8 example. One cool detail is that they're open to cryptocurrency payments, which is pretty modern for such a classic ride. Just remember, if you're interested, you'll want to check out the usual wear points on these G-body El Caminos. Things like the frame rails, rear quarters, and the area where the bed meets the cab, as these are common trouble spots on these models. 2. We're looking at a 1985 Ford Bronco that's caught my eye, and at $1,000 it's definitely worth talking about. Let me be completely honest with you. This is a project car, and the seller's being upfront about its fair condition, which in Craigslist language usually means needs work. But here's why this is interesting. It's got the desirable V8 engine, manual transmission, which is pretty rare for these, and four-wheel drive that's reportedly working. The odometer shows 92,000 miles, and it's wearing blue paint, though I'd bet it's seen better days. The seller mentions a new clutch and good running gear, which is actually a decent starting point. Look, for $1,000, you're not getting a pristine survivor here, but you are getting a solid foundation for a project. These first-gen Broncos have become seriously collectible, and even rough ones can be worth saving. The clean title is a huge plus, and having a running V8 with working 4x4 at this price point is pretty remarkable in today's market. Just be realistic. You're probably looking at rust issues. These Broncos are notorious for it, and you'll likely need to invest in both mechanical and cosmetic restoration. But if you're handy with tools and looking for a classic 4x4 project that won't break the bank initially, this could be your ticket to Bronco ownership. Just make sure to check those frame rails and floor pans thoroughly before pulling the trigger. 3. We're diving into something special, a 1968 Chevy El Camino listed at $30,000. And let me tell you, this one's got some interesting details worth discussing. First off, this isn't your typical barn find anymore. While it was discovered in Fresno with just 52,000 original miles, the current owner has made some significant upgrades. The original matching numbers 327 and Powerglide combo are included, though the 327 needs rebuilding. But the car is currently running a fresh ATK 350 crate engine, pushing 345 horses, paired with a new transmission and modern fuel injection system. The seller's being pretty transparent here. They've noted a few imperfections like scratches on the right rear quarter panel and driver's door, plus a missing glove box. But with only 54,000 miles on the clock, a near-perfect interior, and that fresh powertrain, this El Camino is presenting itself as a serious contender in the classic car market. That ATK crate engine is no joke. We're talking 4-bolt mains, hydraulic roller cam, and iron heads with decent flow characteristics. The Sniper EFI system is a great modern touch that'll make this classic way more daily drivable than its original carbureted setup. Now, about that $30,000 asking price, while it's in the ballpark for a well-sorted 68 El Camino, the lien on the title might be a negotiating point. The seller's openly asking for offers, which suggests some flexibility on price. 4. We're checking out something seriously wild, a 1967 Chevy El Camino that's been transformed into an absolute beast, listed at $25,000. And let me tell you, this isn't your grandpa's grocery getter. Let's dive straight into what makes this El Camino special. We're talking about a monster 420 cubic inch small block, pushing out a claimed 690 horsepower. The build sheet reads like a race car parts catalog. AFR 227 heads, Jessel shaft rockers, JE pistons, and a compression ratio that'll make pump gas cry, 1450-11. The drivetrain is just as serious with that G-Force G101 4-speed manual transmission and a Mosier 12-bolt rear end running 4.88 gears with a spool and 33 spline axles. Now, let's keep it real. With 150,000 miles showing, though the odometer's broken, this El Camino has seen its share of quarter miles. The yellow paint and excellent condition claim suggest it's been well maintained, but this is clearly built for performance, not shows. That high compression ratio means this isn't your daily driver. You'll be making friends with your local race fuel supplier. At $25,000, you're not paying for a pristine restoration. You're paying for a purpose-built race car in El Camino skin. The clean title is a plus, but potential buyers should understand this is a serious performance machine that needs an experienced hand to handle and maintain. For someone looking for a legitimate strip warrior with classic style, this could be your ticket. Just remember, with this kind of power and setup, it's more at home on the drag strip than cruising to Cars and Coffee. 5. Let's talk about this 1985 Chevy C10 that's popped up for $14,000. I've got to keep it real with you. The seller's listing this as fair condition. So let's dive into what we're really looking at here. This C10 is rocking the classic red and black two-tone paint job with chrome trim, which is always a head-turner on these square-body Chevys. Under the hood, you've got the tried-and-true 350 V8 paired with the reliable TH350 automatic transmission, a combination that's as American as apple pie, and just as sweet when it comes to parts availability and ease of maintenance. The odometer shows 32,197 miles, but on a 38-year-old truck, we should probably assume it's rolled over at least once. The interior has been customized with a matching red and black theme with chrome accents, which could be either a plus or minus depending on the quality of work. Now, let's talk turkey. $14,000 is asking pretty strong money for a C10 in fair condition, even in today's market. These square-body trucks have been shooting up in value, but with the seller openly admitting it's not in great shape, you'll want to inspect the usual trouble spots: cab corners, rocker panels, bed floor, and frame rails for rust issues. The clean title and running driving condition are definite pluses, but at this price point, you really need to see it in person to judge if the custom work adds value or detracts from it. Remember, runs and drives can mean anything from purrs like a kitten to makes it down the road with a prayer. 6. We're looking at something pretty special, a 1972 GMC Sierra Grande 4A4 listed at $27,000, and let me tell you, this one's got some features worth getting excited about. First off, this is an Arizona truck, which is music to any classic truck lover's ears, meaning we're talking about a rust-free body that's never needed repair. That's huge for these old trucks. It's a factory 3-4-ton model, and being a Sierra Grande means it was the top trim level back in '72. The powertrain setup is interesting. It's running an updated Vortec 350 V8 paired with a manual transmission, which is a sweet combination for both reliability and driver engagement. The fact that it's a 444 just adds to the appeal. Those factory heavy-duty springs giving it that higher stance? That's just icing on the cake. Now let's talk about what makes this truck special. It's loaded with factory options, including a working tachometer, rare for '72, and, get this, functioning factory AC that still blows cold. Plus, you've got 3 fuel tanks, which is pretty unique. The original light olive green paint and matching cloth interior give it that perfect period-correct look. At $27,000, we're in serious collector territory. But here's why it might be worth it. Finding a rust-free factory option '72 Sierra Grande 404 is getting harder every year. The fact that this one has its original interior, working AC, and has been upgraded with a more modern Vortec engine makes it both collectible and more usable. 7. We're checking out something really special, a 1959 Ford F-250 listed at $9,900. And let me tell you, these old workhorses are getting harder to find every year. This black beauty is packing its original 292 V8, which is a huge plus for collectors, and according to the seller, it starts right up in cold weather and idles like a kitten. That's exactly what you want to hear about a 64-year-old engine. It's paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, which makes this truck a proper time machine to drive. With 108,000 miles on the clock, this F-250 has lived a life, but it's still got plenty to give. The seller's been honest about the minor issues. The horn and cab light aren't working, but hey, that's pretty minor stuff for a truck of this vintage. They've already invested in a new battery and tires, which saves you some immediate expenses. Now, let's be real about that $9,900 asking price. For a running, driving 59 F-250 with its original V8, that's actually pretty reasonable in today's market. Sure, it needs some love. The seller admits they bought it for restoration but never found the time. But it's not a basket case. It's a driver that could be gradually improved while you enjoy it. The clean title and the fact that it's getting thumbs up around town suggests it's still presentable enough to be proud of. For someone looking to get into classic truck ownership without breaking the bank, this could be a solid entry point. Just remember, these old Fords are simple machines, but parts can sometimes be tricky to find, so factor that into your planning. 8. Let's talk about this 1979 GMC Sierra that's popped up for $4,500. And I've got to say, this one's got some interesting potential as a project truck. We're looking at a 4x4 work truck setup with a utility bed, powered by the bulletproof 350 V8 paired with the legendary SM465 manual transmission. That's a seriously tough drivetrain combo that mechanics love. The seller's being straight up about both the good and the not so good, which I really appreciate. The good stuff first. The 4x4 system is working great. It's got good tires, a fresh battery, and importantly, no rust issues, which is huge for a truck this age. With 65,000 miles showing, there could be some life left in this old workhorse. Now let's talk about what needs attention. The utility bed's toolboxes need some TLC, there's a cracked windshield that'll need replacing, the interior needs work, and the fuel gauge is playing games. These are all fixable issues, but they're worth considering in the price. At $4,500, you're getting a solid foundation for either a work truck build or a restoration project. The SM465 to a 350 combo alone is worth considering. These transmissions are getting harder to find and are practically bulletproof. Plus, having a clean title and functioning 4x4 system at this price point isn't bad at all. For someone looking for a project truck with good bones and a strong drivetrain, this could be a solid buy. Just remember, you'll need to budget for that windshield, interior work, and getting those utility boxes functional if you plan to use them. 9. We're looking at a seriously modified 1976 Chevy El Camino that's got more upgrades than your local speed shop's catalog. Listed at $22,000, this isn't your average grocery getter El Camino, so let's break down what makes this one special. First off, the performance upgrades are impressive. We're talking about a 350 small block pushing around 350 horses, breathing through an Edelbrock intake, and Carter 650 AVS carb. The 700R4 transmission with a shift kit means you're getting modern overdrive capability with some attitude. That QA1 coilover suspension setup front and rear? That's serious handling hardware, folks. And four-wheel disc brakes with drilled rotors mean this El Camino can actually stop as well as it goes. The attention to detail continues with 2 complete sets of wheels and tires. You're getting both classic rally wheels and modern 18-inch Riddlers with meaty Nitto rubber. That's like getting 2 different personalities for your car. The vintage air system means you can cruise in comfort, and those odometer gauges help you keep tabs on everything. At $22,000 OBO, you're not just paying for a 76 El Camino. You're paying for all the performance upgrades and modern amenities. For someone looking for a turnkey classic with modern performance capabilities, this could be a solid deal, considering all the high-end parts already installed. Just remember, modified classics like this need proper maintenance to keep all those upgrades working together harmoniously. 10. We're checking out this absolutely gorgeous 1969 Chevy C20 that's popped up on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this is one sweet ride that perfectly balances classic charm with modern reliability. Let's dive right in. This beautiful green C20 has undergone some serious upgrades that make it a really compelling package. The owner has clearly put a lot of thought and investment into making this truck both enjoyable and dependable. 4 years ago, they dropped in a Summit Racing Crate 350, pushing out 350 horses, and it's fuel-injected, no more carburetor headaches. They've done it right with the supporting mods too: aluminum radiator, serpentine belt system, ceramic-coated headers, and a dual exhaust setup with turbo mufflers that probably gives it a really nice rumble. What really catches my attention is the modern 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission that was installed just last year. That means you can actually use this truck on the highway without watching the fuel gauge drop like a rock. Add in the classic auto air conditioning system, power disc brakes, and well-maintained suspension, and you've got yourself a classic truck that drives like a much newer vehicle. With 110,689 miles on the clock and a clean title, the asking price of $23,500 seems pretty fair for a well-sorted classic C20, especially considering all the modern upgrades. The seller mentions it drives straight at highway speeds, which is exactly what you want to hear about a classic truck. Located in Tucson, Arizona, near Twin Peaks and I-10, this truck represents a really nice blend of vintage style and modern drivability. If you're in the market for a classic Chevy truck that you can actually use regularly without the typical classic car headaches, this one deserves a serious look. 11. We're looking at something pretty interesting: a 1979 Chevy Custom Deluxe 30 4R4. And at $4,000, this could be a really solid deal for the right person. This gray workhorse has some stories to tell with its 80,000 miles on the clock. What's really catching my eye here is that it's a 4.4 with a manual transmission. That's a sweet combination for an old-school truck. The seller mentions it's got a clean title and comes equipped with a fifth-wheel hitch in the bed, so it's ready for some serious hauling duty. Now, while the seller lists it in excellent condition, I've got to keep it real with you. We're talking about a 44-year-old work truck here. The price point of $4,000 suggests there's probably some wear and tear that comes with the territory. However, the seller mentions lots of new parts and new tires, which is definitely a plus. The fact that it runs and drives good is promising, especially for a truck of this age. Located in Patagonia, Arizona, this C30 represents a pretty interesting opportunity. For $4,000, you're getting a heavy-duty 4044 with a manual transmission, which is becoming increasingly rare to find. The 350 V8, 8-cylinder engine these trucks came with is known for being reliable and relatively easy to work on. If you're in the market for a classic work truck that can still put in the hours, and you don't mind a project with some potential, this could be worth checking out. Just remember to give it a thorough inspection. These old workhorses often hide their battle scars under their tough exterior. 12. We're looking at something pretty interesting: a 1979 Ford Ranchero that's popping up for just $1,400. And I've got to be straight with you about this one. Let's get real here. This Ranchero is definitely what we'd call a project car. The seller's being pretty honest about its condition, which I appreciate. It's got a V8 under the hood that runs, though the seller isn't sure of the size, classic project car mystery right there, and an automatic transmission. The odometer shows 65,093 miles, but as the seller mentions, who knows if those are original. Now here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean challenging. The car needs some crucial work. It needs a steering pump and steering column joint, which means right now it's probably not the easiest thing to drive. Also, those tags have been expired for about 5 years, so there's some paperwork headaches to deal with. Speaking of paperwork, it's coming with a lien sale package, so you'll need to sort that out too. On the positive side, the seller mentions it's pretty straight and has good tires, which is something at least. At $1,400, and they're open to offers, this could be a decent starting point for someone looking to resurrect a classic Ranchero. These car trucks are getting harder to find, and they've got a pretty cool following in the classic car community. Look, If you're handy with tools, aren't afraid of some paperwork challenges, and want a Project Ranchero that at least runs, this might be worth checking out. 13. We're looking at an interesting package deal centered around a 1980 Ford F-250 Ranger, and I've got to be straight with you about what we're seeing here. The main attraction is this blue F-250 with 126,475 miles on the clock. It's rocking the 400-member engine with a 4-barrel carb and automatic transmission. That's a solid powertrain combo from the era. The seller's being honest, listing it in fair condition. And here's what we know. The 4x4 system is working properly, which is always a big plus on these old trucks, and the body's straight with no accident history. However, the AC is currently not working for unknown reasons. Classic old Ford mystery there. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about the F-250. The $5,500 asking price includes a 1966 Mustang Coupe with a freshly rebuilt straight six and C4 Auto Trans, with 0 miles on the rebuild. Plus, you're getting a 351 Windsor block with rebuilt heads, a Ford 9-inch rear end, and leaf springs for the Mustang. Let's be real here. This is definitely a package for someone who's looking for projects. The F-250 needs some attention, that AC issue at minimum, and the Mustang parts suggest there's assembly required there. But with clean titles for both vehicles, this could be a gold mine for the right buyer who's got the time, space, and skills to tackle these projects. For $5,500, you're essentially getting a running F-250 4.4 plus a Mustang project with some seriously valuable parts. If you're mechanically inclined and looking for some classic Ford projects, this package might be worth checking out. Just remember, projects always take more time and money than you initially plan for. 14. Let me tell you about this fascinating 1963 GMC 1000 I just spotted on Craigslist. This classic beauty is currently up for grabs at $8,500, and honestly, for a piece of American truck history, that's worth considering. What we've got here is a long bed step-side pickup running a V6 305 long block motor paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission, a really nice period-correct powertrain combination. One of the coolest things about this truck is that it still rocks its original California black plates, which is always a huge plus for collectors and enthusiasts alike. The odometer shows 48,000 miles, and while we can't be certain if that's original, what matters is that this old workhorse is still running and driving. The current owner has put some work into it, installing a new battery, alternator, and brake master cylinder, all essential components for reliable operation. It's sitting on larger wheels with good tires, which gives it a slightly more modern stance while maintaining its classic charm. The seller has the air cleaner and some additional parts to go with the sale, which is always nice for future restoration work or maintenance. What really catches my attention here is the clean title and current registration. That's something you don't always find with classics of this age. While it's not presented as a show truck, it appears to be a solid running example of these increasingly rare GMC pickups. 15. Let me tell you about this interesting 1977 GMC Sierra 2500 Royal that just popped up on Craigslist for $4,000. And let me tell you, for a classic workhorse with a 454 big block, that's an attention-grabbing price. This beast is a camper special with an impressive 8200 GVW rating, packing that legendary 7.4L 454 big block V8 under the hood. What's really practical about this truck is it comes with dual fuel tanks, a feature that's super handy for those long hauls or work days. The odometer shows 65,174 miles, though as with most classics, take that with a grain of salt. Now, being honest here, at $4,000, you're looking at a working truck, not a showpiece. It's wearing its original green paint, and while the dealer says it's in good condition for the year, that typically means it's got its fair share of wear and patina, which is expected for a 46-year-old work truck. The good news is it's running and driving, which is crucial. It's got an automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive setup, making it a straightforward, no-nonsense hauler. The clean title is definitely a plus. For someone looking for a classic work truck with that awesome 454 big block, or maybe a project with good bones, this could be a solid deal. These camper specials are getting harder to find, especially at this price point. Just remember, it's a 77, so expect it to need some TLC and regular maintenance to keep that big block happy. 16. We're checking out this absolutely gorgeous 1970 GMC 2500 that just popped up on Craigslist for $26,000. Let me tell you, this is one clean classic truck that's definitely caught my attention. What we're looking at here is a beautifully preserved piece of American truck history with just 85K original miles on the clock. The owner has clearly taken great care of this beauty. It's rocking that classic 350 cubic inch V8 that's reportedly running excellent, paired with a smooth shifting automatic transmission. The power steering and front disc brakes are huge pluses for daily drivability. I'm absolutely loving that dark green metallic paint job. It really gives this truck a premium classic look. Those new 17-inch General Grabber tires mounted on Fuel Beast wheels add just the right amount of modern flair without compromising the truck's vintage character. And get this, it's got fresh upholstery inside, which is always a big win for these classics. What really adds value here is that all the gauges are working, which is rare for a truck this age. And it comes with the original build sheet. That's like gold for collectors. The fact that it's got a clean title is another huge plus. At $26,000, considering the current classic truck market and this GMC's condition, it seems like a fair ask. Interesting that the owner's willing to trade for an El Camino. That shows they're a true enthusiast. 17. We're looking at a pretty interesting 1972 GMC pickup that's up for grabs at $10,000. I've got to be straight with you. This listing is pretty light on details, which always makes me a bit cautious. What we do know is that this truck is packing some serious muscle under the hood with that big block 454 engine paired to a 350 automatic transmission. The seller says it runs strong, which is promising, but without more details about the truck's condition, maintenance history, or mileage, we're kind of in the dark here. The 404 capability is definitely a big plus, and these early 70s GMCs are becoming increasingly desirable. However, at $10,000, you'd really want to see this truck in person and get a lot more information. The clean title is good news, but we don't know about rust issues, interior condition, or if everything's original. Being a 454 truck, there's huge potential here. These engines are legendary for their power, and if it's truly running strong as claimed, it could be a decent deal. But I've got to be honest with you all, you'll need to do some serious homework on this one. Ask for more photos, get a detailed inspection, and maybe even bring along a mechanic before pulling the trigger. 18. We've got a real treat for you. A 1970 Chevy El Camino that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at $17,500, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 383 small block V8 engine that purrs like a kitten and roars like a lion. Paired with a smooth shifting automatic transmission, this El Camino is ready to hit the road and turn heads wherever it goes. The seller has made sure this classic ride is equipped with all the right features, including factory-powered disc brakes, power steering, and a Holley 4-barrel carburetor for that extra kick. The dual exhaust and electronic ignition system ensure that this El Camino runs like a dream. Inside, you'll find a nice interior that's been well maintained, and the floor shifter adds a touch of sportiness to the driving experience. The odometer gauges keep you informed about your ride's performance, while the 15-inch American Racing Torque thrust wheels and new Cooper Cobra tires provide a solid grip on the road and a killer look. The paint job on this 1970 Chevy El Camino is nothing short of stunning, and the seller assures us that it comes with a clean title. That means you can trust that this car is ready to be yours without any hidden issues. Now, the seller has made it clear that they're not interested in any trades, so if you want to make this El Camino yours, be prepared to come with cash in hand. And with just 4,100 miles on the odometer, this classic ride has plenty of life left in it. 19. We're diving into the world of classic trucks, and boy, do we have a gem for you. Feast your eyes on this 1967 Chevy C20 Custom Camper Special, a two-wheel drive beauty that's ready to hit the road and make some memories. First things first, let's talk about the price. At $13,500, this truck is a steal for any collector or enthusiast looking for a solid, reliable classic. The seller has provided a clean title, so you can rest assured that this purchase will be a smooth one. Under the hood, you'll find a 327 V8 engine that's ready to rumble. Paired with an automatic transmission, this C20 is a breeze to drive, whether you're cruising down the highway or navigating city streets. The seller mentions that the truck runs and drives great, which is always a good sign. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller has listed the truck as being in good condition, which is a fair assessment based on the photos provided. The black paint job looks clean and shiny, and the body appears to be straight and free of any major dents or rust. Of course, as with any classic vehicle, there may be some minor imperfections, but overall, this C20 looks to be a solid choice. The odometer reads 70,000 miles, which is relatively low for a truck of this age. While it's not clear whether this is the original mileage or if the odometer has rolled over, it's still a good indication that this truck has been well maintained throughout its life. 20. We've got a real treat for you. A 1985 Ford F-250 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beast is priced at just $6,500, and let me tell you, it's a whole lot of truck for the money. First off, let's talk about the heart of this machine. A 6.9 IDI diesel engine that's built to last. But that's not all. This F-250 has been upgraded with a Banks Sidewinder turbo system and a gear vendor overdrive, which means it's got the power and efficiency to tackle any job you throw at it. The seller has really gone the extra mile to make sure this truck is in top shape. They've installed a new injection pump, fuel pump, belts, fuel return lines, and glow plugs, so you can rest assured that this diesel powerhouse is ready to roll. And with less than 500 miles on the latest oil change and fuel filter, you know it's been well maintained. Inside the cab, you'll find new carpet and refurbished door panels with added map pockets, as well as a Coverlay dash mat to keep things looking fresh. And with new shocks and batteries, this F-250 is ready to take on any terrain. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller has listed the truck as being in good condition, and based on the details they've provided, it's clear that they've put a lot of work into making sure this F-250 is a solid ride. The tires have about 75% tread life left, which means you've got plenty of miles ahead of you before you need to worry about replacements. Of course, as with any used vehicle, there may be some minor imperfections or signs of wear and tear, but overall, this 1985 Ford F-250 seems to be a well-cared-for truck that's ready to work hard and play hard.